Little background here. In the beginning of the book of Nehemiah, chapter 1, Nehemiah is the cupbearer of the king, and he was a captive. And he says, Hanani, one of the brothers, came, he and certain men of Judah, and I asked them concerning the Jews that had escaped, which were left of the captivity, and concerning Jerusalem. And they said to me, the remnant that are left of the captivity there in the province are in great affliction and reproach. The wall of the Jerusalem also is broken down, and the gates thereof are burned with fire. And it came to pass when I heard these words that I sat down and I wept, and I mourned certain days and fasted and prayed before the God of heaven. The remainder of chapter 1 is where the real help begins. Nehemiah was praying, recognizing that the Israelis had sinned, that they were guilty. He reminds that God promised to restore the nation if they repented. And then he prayed, Lord, I beg you, I beseech you, let your ear be attentive to the prayer of thy servant and to the prayers of thy servants who desire to fear thy name and prosper. I pray thee, thy servant, this day, and grant him mercy in the sight of the king, for I was the king's cupbearer. And you know the story, right? When Nehemiah comes before the king notices that he's a little sad of countenance. And he said, dude, you're a drag on the economy. What's going on? I mean, my cupbearer is feeling sad. I'm wondering what's happening. What's up? And Nehemiah said, honored sir, my homeland is in ruins. What do you want? Well, I'd like to get the entourage together and go and fix the walls. The king said, go, get her done. Get her done. And then he sends him off with an entourage, and they're headed over the hill, the last hill, and he looks down there and he sees the walls of Jerusalem just rubble. And his heart is sad, but he knows that God has sent him for a purpose, and he goes down there and begins to get the job done. And by the way, in any case, to get a job done takes hard work. Nehemiah 4:6. So built we the wall, and all the wall was joined together until the half thereof, for the people had a mind to work. I remember the first packing event we had for Feed My Starving Children. Everybody showed up. Everybody showed up. I remember when Richard Berry started building the shelter down there, all the homeless people chipped in. Here, at our church, if something needs to get done, we get it done. Those people had a mind to work. But as always, there are those who say you can't do this. There's distractors or detractors, I should say. There are those who didn't want the wall rebuilt. And listen to this. When Sanballat, the Horonite, and Tobiah, the servant, the Ammonite, and Geshem, the Arabian, heard it, they laughed us to scorn and despised us and said, what is this thing you do? Will you rebel against the king? There's always detractors, always those who are naysayers. But if they show up, just remember what Nehemiah told these people. God will help us. You have no business here. After Nehemiah allowed sections for each family to rebuild, the guys taunted them, said, you guys aren't builders. The fox will knock this over. And they began to come against them physically then. And the men took weapons in one hand and a trowel in the other. And when the taunting didn't work, when the attacks didn't slow the work, they tried another tactic. And this is where we come to our passage for today in Nehemiah 6. Now it came to pass when Sanballat and Tobiah and Geshem the Arabian and the rest of our enemies heard that I had builded the wall and that there was no breach left therein, though at the time I hadn't set up the doors and the gates, that Sanballat and Geshem sent unto me, saying, come, let us meet together in some one of the villages in the plain of Ono. But they thought to do me mischief. And I sent messages unto them, saying, I am doing a great work. I cannot come down. Why should the work cease while I leave it and come down to you? I cannot come down. I remember when Jesus asked the disciples, you going to leave too? Pete says, they all said, wait, where will we go? You have the words of life. I love the section in the Lord of the Rings movie, the stirring speech by Aragorn, the heir apparent to the throne, as the men of the West are surrounded and about to be overwhelmed by a vastly superior-sized army. He says, hold your ground, sons of Gondor, of Rohan, my brothers. I see in your eyes the same fear that would take the heart of me. A day may come when the courage of men fails, when we forsake our friends and break all bonds of fellowship. But it is not this day. An hour of wolves and shattered shields when the age of men comes crashing down. But it is not this day. This day we fight. By all that you hold dear on this good word, this good earth, I bid you stand, men of the West. We may be facing hard times in this land and in this world. But I say, children of the Most High God, by faith, my sisters, my brothers, there may be in your hearts the same doubt that would take the courage out of me. A day may come when the courage of men fails, when we forsake our friends and break bonds of fellowship, but it is not this day. An hour of dismay and darkness when the whole world comes crashing down and we can't even work together. But it is not this day. This day we stand. And by all that you hold dear, and by the faith of the one who loved you and gave himself for you, I bid you stand, children of the King. As we face task after task, it's and each one different than the other one. Let us be wise and look at those who have reasons they can't help or they can't give. That's fine. Just say, do as you will. But we are doing a great work, and we will not come down. That's my view from beside the tracks.